Another big game last night, Women's College World Series, Game 1, Texas and Texas Tech. Texas came out the gates on fire, a 5-run bottom of the first. This was Maya Davis hitting a solo shot, and Maya Davis is known for her speed. That was her 10th home run of the year, but that's not her superpower. Her speed is. She hit the early home run for Texas Tech to give them a 1-0 lead, but then back came Texas, 5 runs in the bottom half of the first inning, and the home run from Katie Stewart was absolutely launched. Look at this thing.
Look at that stance.
This is about as good as you can hit a softball. That thing was scorched.
Yeah. You could tell right off the bat, and she just kind of stands up and goes, yep, that was me.
Yeah. And what's crazy is they said that went 270. They said she's got 4 home runs this season that have gone in excess of 290. And the entire rest of the country has 6. She is in a different level from a power standpoint.
Yep.
Katie Stewart is a monster, and Texas Tech was never able to get fully back in the game. They had a little run to get back within 6-3 was as close as they got, and then 7-3 the final score as Texas added an insurance run in the bottom half of the 6th inning. So Texas takes Game 1. They are now in a position where they can win the series with a win tonight. I will be intrigued to see what happens relative to the pitching matchup.
Yes.
Jerry Glasgow made a very interesting call last night, only a couple innings, maybe 3 innings into the game when they didn't score in either the second inning or the third inning, and it was still 5-1 Texas. He said, okay, I'm pulling Nyjah. And he put Sam Lincoln, their young sophomore, in the game and said, we're going to roll with her. We're not going to give the Texas lineup an opportunity to see Nyjah in this space where we still have to make a comeback. He said if we had scored in the second or third inning, he told Holly Rowe this on the field during the broadcast, if we had scored in the second or third inning, I would have felt like we had a more profound chance to come back in this game. We didn't, so I'm going to roll with Sam, and I'm not going to give them a chance to see Nyjah until tomorrow where the deck is clear.
Interesting perspective from him. Also awesome that he's that transparent, like during the game.
He's incredibly transparent.
Yeah, I know, and you've gotten to know him pretty well. But given their history of being able to come back in games down to 8 runs and 2 outs,
that is a little surprising, yeah.
For him to decide, okay, no, we're giving her, say, 3 innings of runway.
I think that shows his respect for Tegan Cavan.
Well, that
he knew, okay, if we couldn't capitalize, especially like the top of the third, they had some base runners, they had at least an inkling of an opportunity, and they weren't able to capitalize on it. Tegan Cavan is incredible. She is so poised against a ridiculous Texas Tech lineup, and even when they did have a couple of good moments off of her, Jackie Liss hit one off the top of the wall that was about 1.5 feet from being a home run that would have made it 6-4 and maybe could have changed at least a little bit the tenor of the game. Cavan brushed it off like it was nothing, finished the inning clean. Nothing rattles that girl. She is unbelievable.
Given what we consider Nyjah to be, Cavan's got the rep, right? Like, that's the interesting part of that. And it's not saying Nyjah's not fantastic, right? Like, it cuts both ways. I realize I'm kind of throwing Nyjah under the bus a little bit by that comparison. But it reminds me of what the discourse was like last year, which is essentially Texas Tech is riding this $1 million arm all the way the entire way through. And the moment that wasn't enough, it came up against Cavan in the Texas lineup. That speaks volumes about what Texas was able to achieve, and the fact that these two teams are both back here and in a similar scenario. Like, this is literally almost beat for beat what it was last year, practically. Maybe a little bit closer in terms of the scoreline, but still, like, that for Tech to go through everything that they did through, and basically, you know, new transfers, all that kind of stuff. And I realize you had an in-depth discussion on the transfers on social media not too long ago. And Texas has their own transfers, not like it's not somewhat comparable. But to go through all of that and find themselves in the exact same position a year later is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Tegan Cavan was Texas's most outstanding player last year during their run to a championship, their first in school history. To see her doing this again on this stage, like, I don't think it surprises anyone. I did find this stat interesting, which you probably already know this, but winners of Game 1 have gone on to win the title 80% of the time since the best of 3 series format began in 2005. So I have to think that was in the back of Glasgow's mind. But again, like, it's a 3-game series for a reason.
Yeah.
And both teams were depleted. Again, like, as much as Texas won their 2 games, they also had the half day of rest, too, to kind of regather themselves. Tech played late into the night. If there's anything residual that comes from that, You find a way to get rest now because you're going to need that arm in a potential situation either tonight or tomorrow.
I think that's also part of why he went with Caitlin Terry to start game one, was because Nyjah was coming off of the complete game in the second game of their doubleheader against Alabama that did go late into the night. All right, let's go with Terry today. And listen, Caitlin Terry's been outstanding this year. She and Nyjah were both among the 10 finalists for National Player of the Year. They're both amazing, but Caitlin Terry did not have the kind of night she would have wanted to have last night. And they found themselves in that early hole. The other thing that I'm kind of radar up for today, and maybe we can button this conversation here because I know we do want to get to the Cowboys. I think we've got our sound in place relative to what Brian Schottenheimer had to say here in his press conference this morning, is what Texas does do from a pitcher perspective tonight.
Yeah.
Because as amazing as Tegan Cavan is, that's a big ask to have her dial it right back up tonight. And you have a pitcher in Citlali Gutierrez who was terrific against Tennessee in the semifinals that absolutely, I think, deserves the opportunity to have the ball tonight, at least to start the game. And maybe Mike White can run this a little bit similar to the way that Glasgow's done a lot of things through this playoff run of, all right, we're going to start with Citlali, but we've got the ace in the hole of Tegan Cavan if the need arises.
Well, and if this does go to 3 games, if you can get a good start out of a second pitcher who can even give you 5 innings or more, that would then be beneficial come game 3.
Just a mental thing too, like knowing Cavan is there. Like if they get up, it feels like Madison Bumgarner back in 2014 when it's like, hey, the Royals are coming. Guess what? No, they're not anymore. You know what I mean?
They're not.
Slam
Go
them
ahead,
down.
sit down.
Yeah.
And the door is closed.
Yes.
Yeah, no, there is definitely that kind of potential. Listen, both of these lineups are ridiculous. So any one of these games could end up being 11-10 in a heartbeat. That would not surprise me at all. As great as these pitchers are, that's how good the lineups are. That's how jumpy the ball is. We don't know that it's the ball. We don't know that it's the bat. Something is up because the home runs are through the roof this year for everybody. This is not exclusive to one team.
Picking at the seam.
UCLA hit like 1 billion of them this year. So like something's up. But the ball is jumpy. Pitching this year is a heck of a lot harder. For one of these games to get really, really high scoring would not surprise me at all. So there's still a lot of intrigue remaining in what could be 2 more games worth of this series. But Texas certainly in position A after a 7-3 win last night.